Welcome back to Baselines to Sidelines. I'm your host, Nick, and today we've got a big one because something this past week just happened that could actually change the future of baseball in Colorado. We're breaking down the headline news. Two owners from the Denver Broncos stepping in to buy a 40% stake in the Colorado Rockies. What does it mean? Why does it matter? And could this finally be the shift Rockies fans have been waiting for? Then we've got to talk about what's happening on the field because it's not pretty. Six straight losses, a strikeout rate that's starting to raise real red flags, and a team that's looks like it's searching for answers fast. With the Dodgers looming on the schedule, there's not much time to figure it out. So yeah, big picture, hope, some very real, very immediate concerns. Let's get into it. This is Baselines to Sidelines. All right. Welcome back to Baselines to Sidelines. Let's jump right into this. Big news that, has shocked the baseball world, shocked the sports world practically. The Denver Broncos owners, Carrie Penner and Greg Penner from the Walton Penner ownership group have bought a 40% stake in the Colorado Rockies. So they are majority minority owners. That's a mouthful to say, but they own 40% stake in the Colorado Rockies now. This was huge. I was at my other job when the news broke, and I couldn't even believe it. I had to go through all the Twitter people I know. I even texted a couple of friends who are close to the Rockies, and it was confirmed that yes, Greg Penner and Carrie Walton Penner have bought a 40% stake in the Colorado Rockies. Now, obviously, Dick Monfort and Dick Monfort is still majority owner. He still is calling the shots, and Greg Penner and Carrie Walton Penner are going to still be their day-to-day jobs, what they do with the Denver Broncos, that is not changing. So for some people thinking there was some people speculating that could Greg Penner be stepping away from the Broncos or whatever. None of that is happening. Greg Penner, Kerry Walton Penner are still keeping their titles, their jobs, all of that with the Denver Broncos. But this is a huge influx of money. That is one big thing. In a statement that the Rockies released, they even said this allows them to clear the Rockies, that influx of money, it allows the Rockies to clear any outstanding debt. And from what I've read and from what I've been told, it was actually pretty significant. The Rockies had been losing money. And so this is really huge to see, and it's exciting because this actually puts the Rockies closer to that upper echelon of payroll, of being able to pay guys. And it's really unique to see because let's just talk a month ago. We're talking about the CBA coming up and talking about, the Rockies really making a push for a salary cap. I don't know if that is the case anymore. Are the Rockies actually going to be pushing for a salary cap now that they have this influx of money with the Penners getting in on this? And another sidebar to the whole Penners buying a 40% stake in the Rockies. It was also like the first public announcement of the Penners sports ownership or something like that. They they are a separate entity from the Walton Penner family ownership group that it has the Denver Broncos. It is a completely separate entity that basically the Penner Sports Ownership Group, or I forget what exactly the title is, they hold they now hold the Kerry Walton Penner and Greg Penner's ownership stake in the Broncos, plus the 40% ownership stake of the Colorado Rockies. So that is its own separate entity now because Rob Walton owns a 10% stake in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So without, collusion issues or what have you, the Penners are their own separate entity. And but it is still just utterly huge to see. It's really, really exciting for Rockies fans. I can tell you in talking to Rockies fans, this has to be some of the best news in the past couple of years. Outside of the outside hiring of like Paul DePodesta, Josh Burns, that whole front office. Outside of that, this has to be easily the biggest news of the past 2 years. And it's just amazing to see for Rockies fans, for Colorado sports in general, that the Penners are actually making an even more concerted effort into the Colorado community, into the Denver community. It's just amazing, and the Rockies fans have nothing but excitement for this. I'm I'm pleasantly surprised. It was definitely not on any radars. A Denver Post was, I believe, the first one to break the news, and I know I'm kind of like about a week behind, but this is this is just amazing, and I'm really excited to see where this goes, and my only hope is that it continues to go up from here. Now, one thing I want to make clear, because yes, it is a ginormous influx of money, so the Rockies can actually, maybe make some big signings. I would not anticipate any big signings happening this year or maybe even next year for two reasons. One, this is still a team that is slated to lose close to 100 or at 100 games. So you have that issue there. Who's really going to sign with that, even with the big contract? Then you also have the issue of the new CBA. I wouldn't expect a lot of super huge signings, even from teams not just the Rockies. This cycle of signings, I feel like is going to be relatively quiet. And I'm even trades. I don't know how well the trade or how much the trades are going to go come trade deadline. That's going to be a whole different topic. But when it comes to off-season signings in general, don't expect a whole heck of a lot. Yes, this influx of money, the Penners having a care of the Rockies and, you know, bringing in just immense, it's, hey, I'm losing the words for this, but it's really, really good. But don't expect to see a super immediate effect. Outside of the debt being paid, which is really good, don't expect to see much change outside of that because there's not with the CBA and with the team where it's at right now, it doesn't make sense to go out and try to get a big name player, big name contract, whatever. It doesn't make sense right now. Talk to me if there is a 2027 baseball season, or talk to me at the 2028 season. That is where I expect and I would hope to see the Rockies actually making moves to bring basically bring in higher end talent with the influx of money they've gotten from this ownership stake. There's not really much else to talk about this, at least for right now. Um, I'll probably dive into the hopefully getting rid of this being the piece to get rid of Chris Bryant contract fiasco, but that's going to be a whole nother episode. Now let's dive into the Colorado Rockies on the field. I actually, to my right, have the Rockies game on my phone, and they literally just finished it. They finally stopped a 6-game losing streak where they got swept by the Astros or swept by the Padres, and the Astros beat them 2 out of 3. Yikes. After coming off of a 4-game winning streak, the Rockies fell 6 games, going from 6-6 to 6-12. Now they're 7-12, which great. They just got a really clutch win over the Houston Astros, but one of the bigger concerns right now with the Colorado Rockies is the strikeout rate. The strikeout rate is just, it's ugly. I mean, I want to say over the past 4 games, 2 or 3 of them have been double-digit strikeout games. You're not going to win games that way. You're just not. I get you're trying to hit the ball. I get you're trying to put the ball in play. But Hunter Goodman is just swinging out of his shoes. Now, he had a monster home run in this game that just ended to get the 3-2 lead. But he's also been like chasing sliders out of the zone. He seems like he's chasing ghosts right now. And that's concerning coming from one of the best players on that team. Now, there are other players who have absolutely stepped it up. Mickey Moniak has been utterly clutch. TJ Rumfield, who, if you guys remember correctly, he was a pickup from a trade with the Yankees, shipping out Angel Shivy to the Yankees and bringing in TJ Rumfield. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I haven't looked at Angel Shivy's stats in a minute, but it looks like the Rockies got a steal so far. Again, we're, 14 games into the season? So there's still a lot of baseball to play, but, I mean, Rumfield is coming up with big hits. He is coming up, he's fighting pitches off. I mean, Rumfield actually today went 14 pitches before getting on base. Or I think he had a pop out on one of the at-bats I saw. But still, think of over the past 3 years, think of a Rockies player that was actually fighting off even 9 pitches, having a 9-pitch at bat. That's amazing to see because that's putting wear and tear on the opposing pitchers, and that's really having a good eye for the strike zone, good discipline at the plate, and bringing it's forcing these pitchers to have to pitch more in the zone than what they would like to, and TJ is taking advantage of it. It's it's really awesome to see. I think him and Mickey Moniak are probably about the couple bright spots um currently. Now, Antonio Senzatella and Chase Dollander, they're also some bright spots in the bullpen. I have to say, Chase Dollander in the bullpen, that was a savvy and smart move by the Rockies. Again, still very early in the season, still very much a lot of baseball to play. But instead of sending him down to AAA, because he didn't win the 5th spot in the rotation, they put him in the bullpen and have him as a long relief pitcher, or, they use an opener and then they bring Chase in where it's more of a bullpen game. And he has been money this this game that just ended. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, no runs, and 9 strikeouts against a team that their strikeout rate as a team is 13.1%. 13.1. That is top 5. That is top 5 in the MLB. And Dollander just struck him out 9 times. This is a different Chase Dollander, and this is something that I am really, really excited to see. I'm really loving what his fastball, when it plays, it plays money. Because then he can complement his splitter, which his splitter is as fast as his four-seam fastball. And he just, woo, it's money right now. And even Antonio Senzatella, he's having a great season so far out of the bullpen, being another long relief pitcher. It's really refreshing to see. The bullpen is definitely one of the Rockies' strengths. They have struggled a little bit the past couple of games. I would more put that on the starters a little bit. But overall, the bullpen has been very solid. Very solid. And I'm absolutely thrilled to see what just as a baseball person, I'm removing all bias. Just as a baseball person, to see such a strong bullpen is really, really nice to see. Jaden Hill, he's been a little iffy, but I mean, Jimmy Herget, he's been money. Antonio Senzatella, Chase Dollander, Zach Agnos, they've all pitched really strong. Really strong. If the bats can get hot again, this is a decent Rockies team. Again, I'm not going to be putting the cart before the horses, because that would be asinine. But you have to look at what small things can you look at and say, oh, this team is making improvements here, or this team is making improvements here. And you can absolutely easily say that the bullpen has been a strength. This new pitching staff has really brought a new life to that bullpen that I haven't seen. The bullpen was pretty good last year. It was okay. But this is different. This is different. As Rockies fans, y'all should be excited. Y'all should be absolutely excited to see the product on the field when it comes to the bullpen. If the bats can get hot with that bullpen, and if the starters can hold up their end of the bargain as well, which they're kind of starting to. Now, Freeland's injury, even though Freeland was wheeling and dealing, man, Freeland's injury kind of hurts things. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to manage that. I know they called Tanner Gordon up from AAA Albuquerque, which I was I liked Tanner Gordon last year. I'm really excited to see him up in the bigs this year, and hopefully he could be a mainstay. I also know Beozo got called back down to AAA because of Jose Quintana coming off the IL. Jose last night was pitching pretty darn good. I th- I think they're definitely going to be managing him slowly. I know he only went 75 pitches last night. My guess is his next start, he'll probably have either 75. He'll probably have 75 to 85 pitches. I think they'll give him a little bit of a longer leash, but it's not going to be much more beyond that. So there is some bright spots. The bigger concern, going back to my original point, is the strikeout rate. Like Hunter Goodman is at a 40%. I want to say Doyle's at a 30% as well. It's it's not great right now. It is big time concerning when it comes to the Rockies and their strikeouts. I'm I'm really hoping that they can get I hope they can get some things right and actually tighten up these strikeouts, because especially with tomorrow, you got the LA Dodgers coming to town. You've got some flamethrower arms on that team. And you also have a lineup that'll just punish you from top to bottom. Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, yada, 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 Will Smith. I can go through that whole lineup, and that whole lineup will absolutely punish. Just absolutely punish. And so I'm curious to see how they handle this, but they've got to get some things fixed quick. Because with the Dodgers tomorrow, they're going to be unforgiving. I mean, they're the top dog for a reason. They are the top team for a reason, but they are going to be absolutely unforgiving. And the strikeouts aren't going to do the Rockies any favors. They need to be very disciplined at the plate for a team like this. I'm not expecting much out of this. I think Rockies fans need to be prepared for another losing streak to the Dodgers. If they can steal one, great. Absolutely great. But this is a young team that needs to figure some things out before they can really say they're competing with the big boys, i.e. the Dodgers. So I'm really hoping that the I'm hoping as a just as a baseball person, I want to see good baseball. I really do. And I want to see competitive games. So would I like to see the Rockies be competitive these next 4 games? Absolutely. but we shall see. We shall see. Um, yeah, I think this is going to be a shorter episode. I'm not going to die. There's not much else really to dive into at the moment. The Rockies like I said, they just finished a game. The Rockies got a clutch win, but that 6-game losing streak was not pretty. They need to get some things figured out. And like the biggest news, I think that the most positive news is last week, the Rockies owner or the Penners buying a 40% stake into the Colorado Rockies and getting that influx of money and just getting a big time name and actually seeing some change in the Rockies. I think that's one thing that Rockies fans have been clamoring for. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier that I do want to mention before I end this episode. As of now, Dick Monfort absolutely is the shot caller. He's the top dog. He's the top owner. That is not going to change really anytime soon. But the Rockies, the Penners have an interest. There is a possibility at some point, whether it's a year from now, 4 years from now, I don't know. But there is possibly in the near future of the Penners taking full ownership over the Colorado Rockies. Now, again, do I think that is going to change now? No. If it did, it would have changed last week. But there's something there. And part of the reason for that is Dick Monfort is really, really close with the commissioner, Rob Manfred. And Rob Manfred wants Dick Monfort to be one of the head negotiators in this new CBA agreement. So do not be surprised to see when negotiations start happening, Dick Monfort's name coming up more and more and more. Rob Manfred, Dick Monfort is one of Rob Manfred's biggest allies. Because of Dick Monfort's negotiation skills and because of his business skills, according to what I've read and according to what I've heard, Rob Manfred sees Dick Monfort as an ally, as somebody who he needs in when the new CBA agreements start happening. So that's part of the reason why you're not going to see really any movement on the Dick Monfort front as far as either stepping down more than he already has with the Rockies or selling the team. That's just not going to happen for at least the next 2 years. So for those Rockies fans hoping at some point in the near future, the Penners just outright buy the team, I would say wait probably 3 years to maybe even start having that discussion. But I think that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys had fun. This was a fun episode. Really, really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys like, subscribe, follow me on X. And I will see you guys in the next episode. This was Baselines to Sidelines. Nick, out.